Hare Krishna. So we are back again. Yesterday we were supposed to discuss the topic of when a devotee does something, especially senior devotee does something they shouldn't do, how do we relate to that? And we never got to that topic because there were so many questions, and I promised Vijaya Lakshmi that today we're going to read something from Bhagavad Gita with commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and also, I think, Sridhar Swami, maybe Jiva Goswami, that answers this question. And we had lots of discussion about Maya pulling the wool over your eyes, and that if you don't laugh at Maya, she's going to laugh at you. So who's going to do the laughing will depend a lot on who's going back to Godhead or not. So that was the discussion. And one devotee wrote me and said, that was the funniest class I've ever heard. I somehow or other have been entering my hasya ras, the laughing ras, and been making everything very funny, which I think is a good idea. Because as we said, we're going to have to laugh our way back to Godhead, otherwise Maya is going to laugh at us while we stay in the material world. So that was part of the discussion. We have a saying, somebody cheats you, they pull the wool over your eyes. So basically we were talking about Maya pulling the wool over our eyes. But how Srila Prabhupada is revealing Maya's plans, so she really can't do it unless you're not paying attention. And if you're paying attention, then you can laugh at her and say, I know what you're doing and I'm not going to fall for that. And if we're not careful, then we'll fall for it. So that was part of the discussion yesterday. And I clean my office, and I don't have my keyboard here set up, but I have my guitar, which you don't have to plug in, so it makes it easier. I don't have a harmonium or Danga kartals here. So we'll do Jai Radha Madhava. And I ordered a keyboard stand because otherwise I have to put it on my desk, which kind of gets in the way. And then the stand, I can bring it up for class and I can move it back. But things are slow, so I don't get the stand until my birthday. I guess it's a birthday present I gave myself. Something like that, huh? Hare Krishna. Gauranga, Nityananda. So, I was thinking about guitars. And some devotees have said guitars are Maya. But I think it's more about whether or not the person playing the guitar is in Maya. Isn't it? Everything's Maya, but it depends. Depends on the person who's playing it. Okay, let's go to Vrindavan. Let's meditate on Vrindavan. Radha Madhava Kunjabi Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Gopijanamala Girivarada Gopichana Vallabha Girivaradari Jiradha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Gopichana Vallabha Giridvara Dhari Gopijana Vallabha Giridhara Dhari Suranandana Bhajajana Ranjana Shoranandana Bhajajana Ranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Balava Girivardhari Gopijana Balava Girivardhari Gopijana Balava Girivardhari Shodhanandana Bhajajana Ranjana Shodhanandana Bhajajana Ranjana Sodhanandana Bhajajana Ranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Sisi Radha Madhava Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Go Premanandi Hari Hari Hare Krishna. I don't know what it is. I have such a hard time singing here in the morning. But anyway, I just have to talk. I don't have to sing anymore. So I think we'll be fine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshnaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. So I just have to bring up the document that I promised to read yesterday. I think I answered all questions yesterday. Is that true? If not, you can post those questions. We'll get to them after we read, if there's time. This document is entitled When a Devotee Falls, or What Happens If a Devotee Falls. And this is based on a question Vijaya Lakshmi was asking. How do you establish a relationship with someone that you lose respect for because of their behavior? They're not acting the way you think they should. So what do you do? How do you deal with that? Hold on. There's too much light over here. Everything must be perfect. Right? As far as perfect goes in terms of lighting, I have two windows there and I have a light there and I have to balance. And it's different in different seasons. So, okay. So first we're going to read wow. I pulled up the wrong document. Hold on. That's not the name of the document. What's the name of the document? Okay, I can just go to date modified. Apichet Siddharacharo, that's the name. Excuse me. For those who are translating, I sent the document yesterday. Yeah, there it is. So, Kamini is ahead of me. So first we're going to read Prabhupada's translation and purport, and then we're going to read the commentaries. And we'll have some discussion. It's a very interesting discussion because it seems like it's almost justifying ill behavior. And on the surface it seems like it is, but actually it's not. But it is, but it's not. So that's what's going to be resolved today. Whether the ill behavior of a devotee is acceptable or whether it's not acceptable, and how do you see it and how do you deal with it. It's a very important subject because if we don't properly respect a devotee, it's going to harm our bhakti, and if we disrespect a devotee, it's going to harm our bhakti. But then we have to understand, is this person actually a devotee, or is what he's doing worthy of disrespect? Not maybe offense. There's a difference between, we could say, respecting at a distance and offending. There's subtleties there. So let's discuss. So this is the verse. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. Now, yesterday we had discussed a little bit about the fault of Christianity when they err on the side of you can't be perfect. They extend that a little too far to include, if they do, or some sects do, to include grossly sinful activities as part of the equation of not being perfect. And you're not perfect, but you're forgiven. So we had discussed the problem with that. And we had said that Prabhupada said, yes, we'll always commit sin, but if you engage in Krishna's service, that's not sinful. And if you must at least follow 4 regulative principles. And then Prabhupada had said, anyone in any religion, if they're actually religious, will follow those 4 principles. So Prabhupada established some baseline of what it means to be sinless in a sense. And Arjuna, interestingly, is called, O sinless one. And we understand that if you engage fully in devotional service, there's no sin. So there is a sense of being perfect and sinless. Although, we understand we're not perfect, and we inadvertently commit sin, but because we're engaged in Krishna consciousness, it's considered sinless. But aside from that philosophical point, Prabhupada made the point that 4 principles, these are the gross sins, this has to be controlled. And in this verse, it sounds like, wait a minute. Even if one does the most abominable things, if he's engaged in devotional service, he's saintly. That sounds like Christianity. That sounds like Mahatma Prabhu. This verse has just undermined everything that you said yesterday about sin and the fallacies of modern Christianity, modern Christian interpretation of the Bible, that it's okay to be sinful. That is what is going to make this discussion interesting, because it does appear that this verse does contradict it. But we will find out soon. What is the answer? Stay tuned. Don't go away. Purport. The word suduracharaha used in this verse is very significant. And we should understand it properly. That's how you say it. You have to say it properly, if you're proper English. And we should understand it properly. When a living entity is conditioned, he has 2 kinds of activities. One is conditional and the other is constitutional. As for protecting the body or abiding by the rules of society and state, certainly there are different activities, even for the devotees, in connection with the conditional life. And such activities are called conditional. It means ordinary activities. We might call these moral activities or just fundamental physical maintenance. Besides these, the living entity who is fully conscious of his spiritual nature and is engaged in Krishna consciousness or the devotional service of the Lord has activities which are called transcendental, Such activities are performed in his constitutional position. Devotional service is transcendental. Then you have the material maintenance activities and so forth, as what Prabhupada calls condition. In the conditioned state, sometimes devotional service and the conditioned service in relation to the body will parallel one another. In other words, you're completely Krishna conscious. Everything you do with your body is transcendental. You're only engaged in devotional service. You only maintain your body for devotional service. But then again, sometimes these activities become opposed to one another. You do the wrong thing. You do something that's you shouldn't have done. As far as possible, a devotee is very cautious so that he does not do anything that would disrupt his wholesome condition. In other words, ideally, whatever you have to do to maintain body and soul would be perfectly Krishna conscious. But Prabhupada says sometimes the devotee messes up. Sometimes someone trying to be a devotee messes up. Does the wrong thing. And then the next sentence Prabhupada says, but if we're trying to be devotees, we have to be careful that we wouldn't do anything that would disrupt our bhakti. So this is another point that was not intended to be, or is not within the context of the intended discussion. But I just want to spend a few minutes on it because it's important. Have you ever done anything which disrupted your Krishna consciousness? It wasn't like really helpful, and in fact, it was either a distraction or directly it was kind of, rather than watering the seed, it was watering the weed. That's another song. Are you gonna water the weed or gonna water the seed? So sometimes we actually are watering weeds. Even in the name of devotional service, sometimes there's weed watering. So Prabhupada's saying a devotee is careful. He's careful that whatever he does is going to be supportive of his Krishna consciousness. That's his mentality. That I don't want to put myself in any situation where I don't want to do anything that's going to disrupt my consciousness. In other words, what Prabhupada's saying is a devotee takes care of his consciousness, so I don't want to see anything, hear anything, do anything, touch anything, or taste anything that could interfere, disrupt, in any way harm my consciousness. But I only want to see, touch, taste, smell, feel things that will uplift my consciousness. So I'm going to read that again. Now, when you hear it again, it'll make more sense. As far as possible, a devotee is very cautious so that he does not do anything that could disrupt his wholesome condition. He knows that perfection in his activities depend on his progressive realization of Krishna consciousness. Sometimes, however, it may be seen that a person in Krishna consciousness commits some act which may be taken as most abominable socially or politically. But such a temporary fall down does not disqualify him. Okay. So sometimes a devotee does something which he shouldn't have done, which is not indicative of the behavior of a devotee, or it is socially or morally unacceptable, or as Krishna says, sudaracharaha, abominable, really bad. And then Prabhupada says, but such a temporary fall down does not disqualify him. All right, so this doesn't mean the end of your devotional service, but it doesn't mean you can continue doing this either. It's not the end of your service, but you can't just go on forever doing it. That is a fallacy of some Christian preachers. Hold on. As the sun is moving, we have to keep adjusting. Getting the light perfect. That's why they say, you know what they say. The reason you need a studio to do videos because if you depend on lighting, while you're doing the video, the sun is changing, the clouds come out, the light keeps changing. Although natural lighting is good. So, anyway, this verse is not. It's saying this verse is saying even if he does something abominable, he should be considered a sadhu. But it doesn't mean if he does something like this every day. That's not what it means. But we'll continue. We'll get to the I don't want to say the meat of it. We'll get to the heart of it. Such a temporary fall down does not disqualify him. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that if a person falls down, but is wholeheartedly engaged in the transcendental service of the Supreme Lord, the Lord being situated within his heart purifies him and excuses him from that abomination. The material contamination is so strong that even a yogi fully engaged in the service of the Lord sometimes becomes ensnared. But Krishna consciousness is so strong that such an occasional fall down is at once rectified. Therefore, the process of devotional service is always a success. No one should deride a devotee for some accidental fall down from the ideal path, for as explained in the next verse, such occasional fall downs will be stopped in due course as soon as a devotee is completely situated in Krishna consciousness. So, one thing is that certainly we're sometimes going to see devotees doing something and we're going to think, that's not right. Devotees shouldn't do that. It could be a little thing or it could be a big thing. So definitely that's going to be there. But at the same time we have to think, but this devotee is engaged in Krishna consciousness. So they're going to become purified. The second thing we have to think, well, this devotee is engaged in Krishna consciousness, so those engaged in devotional service, that's the best thing they can do. That's the highest thing. So the other things are more like spots on the moon than the actual problem. Now, we're not talking about major gross transgressions. If a so-called devotee is committing major crimes against humanity, yeah, that's different. But generally, we're seeing some misbehavior in terms of not controlling anger or being critical or maybe not setting the ideal example always. But our Shastras say, but if the person is giving their life to Krishna, that is such a good thing. It's such a fantastic thing. It's so great, so magnanimous, that it shines above the faults. And it's, I don't know how we would give an analogy. It's like, let's say you're a good businessman, you make a lot of money, but you waste a lot of money. But you make a lot more than you waste. So you could say, he wastes a lot of money. And we could all say, yeah, he's got like more stuff than he needs. He didn't have to buy it. He buys things that are far beyond what he needs them for. It's like you say you're killing an ant with a gun. And we can say all that. And someone says, yeah, but he's an amazing businessman. So he can afford to waste the money. It's something like that. He's so good at what he does that even the bad things are like, whatever, yeah, he does that, but he's so good at this. So that's what Krishna is saying. The fact that he's a devotee, he's so magnanimous, so exalted because he's a devotee, that we have to see these other things like it's not so important, and they're just like spots on the moon. But the main thing, he's a good devotee. Have you ever heard sometimes devotees will have a discussion, and they'll say, I don't agree with such and such a devotee, but they'll say, I really respect him because he's very Krishna conscious or she's very Krishna conscious. But his attitude about this or that, it doesn't seem to me to be, it doesn't make sense to me, or it doesn't inspire me, or I don't understand Krishna consciousness in that way. So sometimes we see this difference, or I don't know why he said that, or I don't know why he did it. It doesn't seem right. But I respect him as a very good devotee. He's very strict. He's very dedicated to Prabhupada. So sometimes you have that kind of conundrum. I'm sure you had that experience, all of you out there in Facebook land. You've had that experience? You see a devotee doing something and it's like, I don't know about that. But at the same time, he's such a good devotee and he's so Krishna conscious. It's like, what can you say? So it's something like that. Also, Vijay Lakshmi, I think another important point is that when we see a devotee, especially a senior devotee, we have no idea what they've been doing for the last 35, 40 years. We have no idea the sacrifices they've made in Krishna's service, what they gave up and what they tolerated, what they worked through and so forth. We don't know because we're just new devotees and we just see them. So I think that's important also. Sometimes we may see a devotee doing something which in our estimation they shouldn't be doing or is not perfect. But we also don't know the whole history. So we want to keep that idea in mind. That, what is the most important thing? The person has given their life to Krishna. They're very renounced, they're very detached, they're very responsible in their service, and so forth. We want to see those things. So Prabhupada says, no one should deride a devotee for some accidental fall down from the ideal path, for as explained in the next verse, such occasional fall downs will be stopped. Yeah, so the idea, you're on the path, you're getting purified, or as Prabhupada said, he's in the shower. So, you're saying that he's dirty, but he's in the shower. So let's continue reading. Therefore, a person who is situated in Krishna consciousness and is engaged with determination in the process of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. If you listen to that tape of Prabhupada chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. If you listen to it long enough, you'll start chanting like that. It's when Prabhupada's chanting slowly, and you can hear him very distinctly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. It's nice sometimes just to play that, like when you're doing something, cooking or something, just play it and get that in your head. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. And then when you're chanting japa, you'll start chanting like that. It's like you're chanting with Prabhupada. A person who is situated in Krishna consciousness and engaged with determination in chanting Hare Krishna should be considered to be in the transcendental position, even if by chance or accident he is found to have fallen. The words sadur eva, he is saintly, are very emphatic. They are warning to the non-devotees that because of an accidental fall down, a devotee should not be derided. Of course, Vijay Lakshmi might be saying, well, it's not accidental, it's constant, regular, it's the way they are. Okay, we'll get to that later. He should still be considered saintly, even if he has accidentally fallen down. And the word mantavya is still more emphatic if one does not follow this rule and derides a devotee for his accidental fall down, then one is disobeying the order of the Supreme Lord. The only qualification of a devotee is to be unflinchingly and exclusively engaged in devotional service. So the focus is he exclusively engaged? Is he surrendered? Has he or she given their lives to Krishna? Okay, if that's what they've done, and then they make a boo-boo here and there, or a big boo-boo, big mistake, then we're not going to focus on that. That was like, okay, that was the spot on the moon. So here's a verse from the Nrsimha Purana. Bhagavan cha harav ananyacheta brishva malinopi virajyate manusyaha nahi sasha, nahi sasha kulushach chabhi kadachit timira paravantam parabhavatam upaiti chandra. The meaning is that even if one fully engaged in devotional service of the Lord, and he's sometimes found engaged in abominable activities, these activities should be considered to be like spots that resemble the mark of a rabbit on the moon. The mark of a rabbit on the moon? What's the mark of a rabbit on the moon? I guess it's a little spot that looks like a rabbit on the moon. Such spots do not become an impediment to the diffusion of moonlight. Similarly, the accidental fall down of a devotee from the path of saintly character does not make him abominable. On the other hand, one should not misunderstand that a devotee in transcendental devotional service can act in all kinds of abominable ways. This verse only refers to an accident due to strong power of material connections. Devotional service is more or less a declaration of war against the illusory energy. As long as one is not strong enough to fight the illusory energy, there may be accidental fall downs. But when one is strong enough, he is no longer subjected to such falling down, such fall downs as previously explained. No one should take advantage of this verse and commit nonsense and think he is still a devotee. That's the warning. If he does not improve in his character by devotional service, then he is understood then it is to be understood he is not a high devotee. Okay, he's still a devotee. Okay, so Prabhupada's saying, for us reading this verse, there's two ways of looking at this verse. One is you're looking at it in terms of another person, and the other way to look at it is looking at it in terms of yourself, because you could read this verse and then you could think, oh, okay, well, I'm weak, and if I fall down here occasionally, it's not a big deal. So that would be taking advantage of this verse to commit sin. And so Prabhupada's saying, no. If you do that, your bhakti is very low. That's not really what bhakti is about. Okay, we acknowledge that you're trying to serve Krishna, but that kind of bhakti is very adulterated. It's not really what it's supposed to be. So you can't use this verse as an excuse to give in to your weakness. Okay, so I'm going to read some of the comments because I saw there were comments. Okay, we have a comment from Tanya. One senior devotee in our community says that such fall downs of advanced devotees are like a Formula One car having a malfunction. You're driving by in your pathetic, slow little car and ridicule the malfunction. Hold on. Formula One is a race car. You're driving by in your pathetic slow car and ridicule the driver of the Formula One car, but as soon as he fixes the malfunction, he's going to fly by you and leave you in the cloud of his smoke. Hey, good example. I like that. Maybe we can have a policy here amongst the followers of Laugh Your Way Back to Godhead. Whenever in doubt whether to criticize a devotee or not, don't. Chandaka Pandit says, when in doubt, don't. And so I think the question Vijay Lakshmi had is, what to do? If you're in this situation and you see behavior, you see the Formula One malfunctioning, and you say, what to do? That car is supposed to be, like the ultimate, and now it's Vijay Lakshmi, what I would say, okay, it's time for some props. I don't have a carrot, so as you know, I have tissues here because it's allergy season, and as you've noticed, I'm not sneezing anymore. You know why? I surrender to the allergy pills. I very, very rarely take ordinary medicine. But I surrender to the allergy pills. But I still have the tissues. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a carrot. Dun, 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 dun. A white carrot. This carrot is dangling in front of me. And I'm going after the carrot. Dun, dun, dun. I'm going all over. Wherever the carrot's going, I'm going. There it goes. There it goes. I'm following the carrot. Right? What is the carrot? Well, we're going to have to name, Satya Rupa, we're going to have to name this class, What is the Carrot? All these like very mystical titles. Today's class is entitled, What is the Carrot? The carrot is dangling in front of you, inviting you to bite it. But the carrot is poisonous. But from the outside, it looks delicious. It's very green. It looks very juicy. And you love carrots. But the carrot is poisonous. So what is the carrot? Well, in devotional service, there are many carrots that come, eat me, come, I look delicious. The carrot dangling in front of you. In this case, the carrot is criticism of the Vaishnavas. It's dangling. And what is dangling in front of us? You know what's dangling in front of us? All the faults we see in the devotees. It's dangling there. Now, do neophyte devotees have faults? Let me think about that question. That's a tough question. Do neophyte devotees have faults? Do they ever do anything wrong? Yeah, I think they do. Yeah, that's what it means to be a neophyte. They do have faults. If they were perfect, they'd already have gone back to Godhead. Hold on, too much light. If you're in the material world, you have faults, guaranteed 100%, or your money back. Did I tell you? I think I told you this story the other day. It's an amazing story. The disciple comes to the guru and says, I want you to be my guru. And the guru says, so, what are you doing? What are you doing? How are you doing? And he says, I chant 16 rounds a day, or I chant 25 rounds a day. I follow the principles strictly. I get up every day, 3 a.m. I read Prabhupada's books. I do devotional service 18 hours a day. I sleep 4 hours. I eat once a day. And the Guru says, what do you need me for? Why do you need me? You're already doing fine. Interesting answer. And then another devotee comes up and the Guru says, so, how are you doing? And he says, struggling like anything. I can hardly chant more than 4 rounds. Hardly ever perfectly follow the regulative principles. If I do follow them all, it's kind of an accident. And just struggling with my mind, struggling with my senses. I'm full of lust, I'm full of greed, I'm full of envy. The Guru says, okay, I'll accept you as my disciple. It's like, what's going on here? And the Guru says, well, if you're already perfect, why do you need me? It's like, you don't go to the doctor, if there's nothing wrong. Well, in Chinese medicine, you do go to the doctor if there's nothing wrong. But we'll use the allopathic system. If you're feeling fine, don't fix it. Everything's great, leave it alone. But it's when you're sick, that's when you go. You need a doctor when you're sick, You imagine going to the doctor's office and you walk in and the doctor says, what's wrong? And you say, nothing. I'm fine. I feel great. Never felt better in my life. And the doctor's like, well, I guess there's nothing I can do for you. I mean, you're fine. Or you bring your car into the mechanic. What's wrong with your car? Nothing. It's fine. It runs fine. So it's something like that. You bring it in when it's broken down. You bring your body in when it's broken down. So will neophyte devotees have faults? Yes, absolutely, 100%, no question. So here's the carrot. It's the fault. You're going to see the fault. Prabhu, Prabhu, did you see what so-and-so is doing? Oh my God. Oh my Govinda. Can you believe it? And then pretty soon, your mind gets upset. Your mind gets disturbed. And you're talking about it with other devotees. And you start talking about during japa, and you put your beads down, and you start talking about it, and you get on the internet, and you start talking about it, and start thinking about it, and it just disgusts you, discourages you, you feel really bad, and then you start becoming offensive. First it was just seeing the criticism, then you become offensive. That's the carrot. And that carrot is dangling in front of every devotee in the Hare Krishna movement, I can guarantee you. If you have the eyes to see, you could see a fault even where there isn't one. That's one of the qualifications of being a conditioned soul. You can see faults where they exist, and you can see faults where they don't exist. That's the first qualification of a conditioned soul. He can see faults where there aren't any. So we're going to see them, whether they're there or not, we're going to see them. Prabhupada said, you can even see faults in me. And he said, what's the point? I can see them in you, you can see them in me. What's the point? Is this what we're going to discuss? So that's the carrot. So unless, we were discussing the other day, unless we're going to do something in sattvagun to remedy the situation, then focusing on the faults, it's going to end up harming us. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said that. He said, when others' faults misguide and delude you, introspect, find fault in yourself. Know that no one can harm you unless you harm yourself. So he was saying that meditating on the faults of others is going to harm you. It's going to delude you. It's going to misguide you. And I think we all have experience of that, don't we? So if you have a choice to see the faults or the good qualities, for your own well-being, see the good. It's going to help you. Am I right? Or am I right? I think I'm right. Well, I'm not right. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is right, and I'm just repeating what he said. And Srila Prabhupada is right. The other thing Prabhupada said is, if you don't like the behavior of someone, well, just show by example how to behave. So this is the problem. And I've seen this carrot. This carrot is dangerous because I've seen this carrot become the cause of many people leaving Krishna consciousness. Seriously, I've seen this many times. This carrot is the cause of many people leaving Krishna consciousness. Maybe Satyarupa, the title should be, Watch Out for the Carrot. I think it's a better title. Watch out for the carrot. This carrot could kill you. Now, Vijay Lakshmi might say, but I'm not making up the fault. I'm not imagining a fault that doesn't, I see it. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur addressed this. He said, yes. He said, it doesn't mean if I'm fault-finding a genuine fault, like it's real, this person is actually doing this, and I'm talking about it, it doesn't mean that's not fault-finding. It doesn't mean only if I'm making it up or I'm exaggerating it is it fault-finding. Because in the pure understanding of fault-finding, it doesn't matter whether the fault is real or imagined. It's just that you're talking about it, and that's not good for your bhakti. That's his point. So don't let it affect you. So the best instruction, I think, in this regards, is what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said. He said, let me rephrase what he said, because it's really powerful to dig into this. He's saying, watch out. Because when you see the fault, a real fault in another person, we're not even saying you're imagining it. That's not even the case. We're not even going to say you're imagining it, it's not true. No, it is true. When you see a real fault, it's going to harm you. It's going to make an impression on you. that in some way is going to discourage you or disturb you. So he said it's going to delude you and misguide you. It's going to misguide you from what? From Krishna. It's going to delude you. Why? Because Maya is going to come and make you see that fault, make it bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's going to harm you. So then he says, well, better than doing that, why don't you do that with yourself? Because there's some redeeming value. That's actually going to help. But if you do it with the other person, it's not going to help. It's actually going to harm you. And then he says, the last thing he said is really, really important for us. And I think this answers your question in the best way, Vijay Lakshmi. He said, nobody can harm you unless you harm yourself. In other words, he's saying, you're allowing the fault of another person to harm you. You're allowing that to happen. And only you can allow it to happen, and only you can prevent it from happening. Nobody can harm you if you don't allow them to. There's nothing that anyone in the 3 worlds, or the 7 worlds, depending on how you divide it up, can do to harm you unless you allow yourself to get focused on it and get disturbed by it. Just like our beloved president, His Holiness. Our beloved president, he is loved by so many people, and he's hated by so many people. And if you're a devotee and you don't like him, you can really absorb your mind. Why did he do that? Why did he say that? And you could get very, very agitated. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's point is, why bother? Why think about these things? It's just going to disturb your mind. What do you think about the President of the United States? I don't think about. That should be our answer. What do you think about, this terrorist? What do you think about this political leader? Prabhu, I don't think about it. What do you think about this devotee? This devotee's doing this. Prabhu, Mataji, I don't think about it. Well, you should think about it because this is important. I know, but if I think about it, I'm just going to make offenses, so I don't think about it. Have you ever said that? Have you ever heard anybody said that? I know it's wrong, I know, but if I think about it, I'm going to make offenses. I know myself. I disagree. I don't think what this devotee is doing right, but he's a nice devotee. He's very renounced. He's more Krishna conscious than I am, but this one area I disagree. And if I think about it, if I'm not careful, I'm going to put his picture on the wall and start throwing darts at it. So I'm just not going to think about it because I know that's where it's going to end up. Does that make sense? Like you know, if you allow yourself to think about it, that's where it's going to go. And so it all started with this. I'm a nice carrot. Why don't you take a little bite of me? I'm so juicy and delicious. Just a little bite, it'll set you free. And we take that little bite, and then it just keeps going and going and going. So, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, if this happens, if your mind gets disturbed, I can't believe what so-and-so Prabhu, even calls himself, even thinks he's a Prabhu. The audacity of him. I cannot believe what so-and-so Prabhu said. That is ridiculous. I cannot believe what so-and-so Prabhu did. He calls himself a devotee. Oh my Govinda. And then you just go off on it, and that becomes your katha for the day. That becomes your Srimad Bhagavatam class for the morning. So, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is saying, no. This is how you say no in South America. This is yes. I learned this yesterday, confirmed it. This is yes, and this is no. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta says, no, don't go there. Where do you go when your mind is critical of another devotee? Stop, reflect, and say, ask the question to that man in the mirror or woman in the mirror, am I perfect? I think the answer is no. What do you think the answer is no? Yeah, I think it's no. Yeah, okay. Am I perfect? No. Okay, if I'm not perfect, why don't I just take this process that I'm using on the other person and do it on myself and correct something in me, and then I'll be better. So basically he's saying if you focus on the fault of another, it's downhill for you. It's a downward spiral for you. And if you focus on improving yourself, it's a win-win. You win, and everyone around you is going to win. Because as you go up, you're going to be better for everyone else. So that's what he's saying. Now, if a devotee is engaged in sinful activity and he thinks it's okay, it's not. We know that. And that is a lesson for us. Don't think that it's okay. What this verse is saying is, if he's engaged in devotional service and he slips and he does something, but he shouldn't have done, but it's not consistent, it's not normal, it's not part of his natural character. And the devotee knows he did something wrong and the devotee's trying to rectify it, Krishna says, don't worry about it. He's a sadhu. It happens. You know that movie, Forrest Gump? In that movie, this idea is explained, that sometimes things happen. Bad things happen. Like we say, chit happens. C-H-I-T. Chit is consciousness. There was a t-shirt that was made, chit happens. It's from that movie. It wasn't chit happens, but it sounded like chit. But things happen, even sometimes to very good devotees. But when they happen to a good devotee, then the good devotee thinks, I'm really, really remorseful for what I did. It was really wrong. And that remorse purifies him. And I just want to be Krishna conscious. So that's what this verse is saying. The other point, which is the first point I made, comes up in a letter. It's a very interesting letter. I don't know the lady's name. I don't know how to guide you to find this letter. But I'll just summarize it. The devotees had met this lady, and she felt the devotees weren't really warm and loving and kind. She kind of felt they were a little heavy. Maybe impersonal, maybe cold. She didn't feel that they were exemplifying spiritual qualities. And she actually wrote Prabhupada about that. And Prabhupada said, excuse me for the behavior of my disciples. He said, but they're trying to become detached, and they're trying to become detached from things they're actually attached to. And so sometimes in that state, in order to become detached, they become adverse. So they kind of are unkind, or even sometimes aggressively unkind to people and things that they're afraid of. Young men, sometimes not so kind to women, because women is the object of the attraction and they want to detach. So sometimes they're kind of on you, spit on you because you're a woman, and I would love to just hug and kiss you, so that's why I hate you. Something like that. And so that was one point of the letter. But the other point of the letter, which relates to what we're talking about, is Prabhupada said, but they've given their life to Krishna, and that's like the best thing they can do. And that's like better than having all these wonderful qualities. They've given their life to Krishna, and that doesn't get any better than that. That's it. That's like the highest. The highest it goes is you give your life to Krishna. That was his point. So someone who's giving their life to Krishna, we have to pay obeisances to. And I think this carrot analogy is really valuable. There's so many carrots. We're talking about one. But if you see the fault of a devotee, and then if in your mind you think, this could be a carrot that could destroy me. And so for his fault, I end up destroying myself because now I'm focused on what he's doing wrong. And I'm thinking about it, smoke's coming out of my ears, I'm sweating, I'm boiling, I'm on Facebook telling the world how bad this devotee is. And that's how I'm utilizing my time. we have to be really careful. We have to think this could be a carrot that could have poison in it. And so that's the warning. That's the general idea. So even if that devotee is not ideal, the thing we have to understand is if we focus on that, that's going to be a big problem for us. And we're going to think, how can I deal with this? This is really bad. So one of the things that Prabhupada taught was respect from a distance. If you see a fault or you see something that makes it difficult to love that Prabhu or love that Mataji, at least love them from a distance. Respect them from a distance. Okay. Prabhu, I love you from a distance. Prabhu, Mataji, I have so much respect for you from a distance. No, I don't recommend telling them that. That would make it even worse. But you understand the idea. Okay, I love all the devotees. It's just some I love from a distance. And some I love closer. And some, they're my best friends. And some, if I don't see them, no problem. I respect them. If I don't see them, I respect their devotion to Prabhupada. I know they have a nature, or they do some things I don't think are correct, but I respect their bhakti. Then for us, that is a safe position. In this verse, Prabhupada points out there's a word mantavya. Mantavya means consider, or it's my opinion. And Krishna says, my opinion, you should see them as a sadhu. So in this case, we're talking about accidental fall down. But Krishna says, if they're rectifying themselves, if they're remorseful, if their heart is into bhakti, that's where their determination is, they may fall. But you have to consider them a sadhu. If you don't consider them a sadhu, it's going to hurt you. And so my order to you is consider them a sadhu. Oh, did you hear what so-and-so Maharaj did? Yeah, but he's chanted 16 rounds every day for 50 years. He's gone to Mangal Artik 365 days a year for the last 50 years, and one day he, for 3 minutes he slipped, for who knows why and how. What he listened to a Beatles song. Oh my God, Maharaj listened to a Beatles song. Can you believe it? I don't believe it. I lost my faith in him. I had so much faith in him, and now he listened to a Beatles song. Oh my God. And Krishna is saying, and then Maharaj says, I don't know how I did it. I don't know why I did it, but I surrendered to a Beatles song. Oh my, after 50 years. I'm so sorry. I'm so remorseful. Krishna, I'll never do it again. And Krishna says, of course, Krishna's talking about something worse than a Beatles song. But Krishna says, this accidental fall down, you have to see that person as a sadhu. That's your duty. And if you don't, you're disobeying my order. My order to you is to see this devotee as a sadhu. So we can take that in a broad sense. Because I think what we're talking about here is not devotees doing something abominable, just maybe not on the highest standard. And so Krishna's saying, but see essentially that they've given their lives, they're sadhus. The other things you may not like, but if you dwell on it, then this carrot, it's poison. And it's going to harm you. Okay. Now, there's some comments here. And I'll read the comments. The comments are not in real time, so we have to go back. Rewind the tape. Of course, for a lot of you, you don't even know what tape is. You were born after tape. They used to record things on tape, for those of you who are younger. So if you rewind the tape, it sounds something like... So that's why I was doing that. We're going to rewind the tape, and I was talking about chanting with Prabhupada's chanting, and Kamaniya said, I miss chanting with the devotees in the temple, so I chant with the two different recordings of Prabhupada. I'll start with the one where he's chanting slowly, then after some rounds I might switch. Nice. To the one he's chanting with devotees. Actually, as soon as I wake up First thing I do is put on the recording Prabhupada chanting slowly. It's so therapeutic. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I have it here on my computer. Prabhupada chanting japa. You can get it. You can get it online if you want. Oh, this is the wrong one. Maybe that's it. I'll put it into my speakers. Hold on, everyone.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
You know, in the japa workshops, coming here, what we do is, I tell everybody, we play this recording and I tell everybody, this is, you know, it's a ways into the japa workshop, so we're like in a good mood. I tell everybody, just listen. Just listen and feel. Because everything I'm doing in the japa workshop is to get devotees to enter more into the mantra, the feeling of it. Understand the meaning and then enter into the feel what it means, not just intellectualize what it means. And so we ask everybody, just listen to this and feel it. And then we're going to ask you to share. And I get so many devotees sharing so many realizations from this. You know, it's like I could feel Prabhupada crying. I could feel that he was seeing Krishna. I could feel his presence. And the interesting thing is, if you listen to this long enough and over again and just feel it and feel what's going on, it ends up that devotees come up with practically everything I would ever teach about japa just by listening to Prabhupada chant japa. Which reminds me, today at noon, and I didn't even tell Radhapriya, today at noon, so we'll get this up on Facebook, I'm giving a class to devotees in the Middle East, in Oman, and it's about chanting. So if you want to attend that, we'll try to get on Facebook, and we'll also try to put the Zoom, depending how many people are going to attend there. If they feel there's going to be close to 100, they have lots of devotees there, I don't know. If they feel there's going to be close to 100, then you can watch it on Facebook. It'll be at noon. And I forgot to tell Radhapriya. So that's there. Anyway, that was a side point. Krishna Karshani is asking, does a disciple expect his guru to behave perfectly in all circumstances? In the sense that he'll never make any mistake? Well, depends how you define perfect. What do you mean by perfect? If perfect means that he's always teaching people about Krishna, he's always, Krishna conscious, he's not engaged in Maya, yeah, you would expect a guru, his life is dedicated to Krishna. But does he know how many grains of sand are on the beach at this particular beach? No. Does he know can he look up and tell how many stars are in the sky? That's not, maybe he can, but it's definitely not the qualification of a guru. Will he forget something? Is it possible? Of course. But it's a fine line. It's a fine line to say, well, Guru Maharaj said that, but he doesn't understand. Maybe I don't understand. So you have to be careful. But Prabhupada said, the main way to understand who is a guru is by how he is making other people Krishna conscious. And that was what Bhaktivinoda Thakur said. said, how do you know who a Vaishnava is? He said, because by associating with him, you become a Vaishnava. And that's how you... And so Prabhupada said, when they asked, is the guru perfect? And he said, no, you don't understand what a guru is. That's not the way you understand who a guru is. He said, you understand a guru by how he's making people Krishna conscious. And he said, and they said, but Prabhupada, sometimes, you'll quote a verse improperly. And he said, no, the guru is not omnipotent. He doesn't know everything. But another time, Prabhupada, they said, do you know everything? He said, I know what I need to know for Krishna service, or I know what Krishna needs to tell me. So that's where the fine line is, because you may think, oh, my guru doesn't know, but that may be Krishna telling him, and maybe I don't know. So the answer is, it's how do you define perfection of the guru? That he's making people Krishna conscious, he's preaching all over the world, that's guru. So the answer is yes and no. I think the answer is based on how you're going to define perfection. And but Prabhupada did know things that ordinary people didn't know. So, Prabhupada said the guru is not like God, he knows everything, but a lot of times it seemed like Prabhupada did know everything. Or he knew a lot. But sometimes, circumstantially, he may not have been aware of everything, and then the devotees would explain things to him so that he could make decisions within the context of the present situation. So they'd have to inform him. Yes, of course. So Pranesha Patel, all the way from England, has a question. Wanted to ask on the point you mentioned about surrender. Is it a case that if somebody is fully surrendered, there is still a chance of fall down? As you mentioned, if somebody is surrendered. As you mentioned, if somebody's surrendered and they make an accident, they'll fall down. Yeah, it's a degree of surrender. Because it's just like when I moved into the temple, I walked in, I said, I'm ready, shave my head. I'm here. So that was surrender. And that was 50 years ago. So surrender is continuing. So yes. Bharat Maharaj is the example, but Bharat Maharaj is the exception. And it's an example just to show that you can make a mistake, you can fall, even from the stage of bhava. So the answer to your question, Pranesha, is according to our philosophy, yes, up to the stage of bhava you can fall, from the stage of prema you cannot fall. That's the answer. The other answer is, on the stage of bhava, it's unlikely you're going to fall. When you get to nishta and beyond, it's unlikely you're going to fall. The higher you go up, the less likely it is. But technically speaking, because the living entity has independence and the stage of bhava is not complete perfection or complete purification, it almost is. But still there's some contamination, and that contamination could affect the devotee, which is kind of scary. And when you think, it's like after all these years, I climbed to the top of the mountain and I fall, and I think, finally I can see it. And then I slip and I fall to the bottom of the mountain after, I've just been 6 days climbing to the top. That sounds kind of discouraging. So the point is, it's unlikely to happen on higher stages, but philosophically speaking, it can happen. You could fall. But it's unlikely when time you get to the top of the mountain, you're going to fall and roll down to the bottom. But it could happen. So, especially in lower stages, I would say in lower stages, it's not that it could happen, it's going to happen to one degree or another. It's like the Guru, how many rounds? 16. How many principles? 4. The Guru says, This is your name, Krishna Das, and I just want to let you know you're probably going to mess up at some point, but when you do, just be remorseful and keep going. That's just the fact. At some point, we're all going to mess up to one degree or another, or some of us are messing up at every moment. And in the next moment, in between the moment we mess up, we're regretful, and then we mess up again. And it's kind of the conditioned stage, is what you go through. Get up, fall down, get up, fall down. And so, we're not really falling down. It's kind of like this. And Krishna's referring to like crash, boom, bang. You really did something bad. But we're mostly like this, right? Kind of, okay, I'm going to try. Yeah, oops, I didn't do so well. That's to be expected. It's called anishtita bhakti, unsteady bhakti. That comes before steady bhakti. So, what to do? The only thing to do, there's this funny commercial, the only way to do something is to do it. As so-and-so said, the only way to do it, to do something, is to do it. So, what to do? Do it. Keep doing it. Don't give up doing it. That's the answer. So, fully surrendered prema? No, you won't fall. You can't fall from prema. Nobody falls from prema. Bhava, you can fall, unlikely, but the example is there, Jad Bharat, but you don't find many examples of devotees on the stage of bhava falling. You find devotees in bhajana kriya or prior, that's usually where they're falling from. Even anartha nivritti, yeah, because you're still dealing with so many anarthas. But when you get to nishta, the idea of nishta is you're steady. You don't fall. That's the idea. But it can happen. And if you're asking the question for ourselves and say, yeah, be careful. Don't think, well, now I'm at the stage of nishta, I'm not going to fall. Only takes one. As I say, you can be very renounced. This is for the men, but you can translate it into women's language. You can be very renounced. You can be very detached. You can be very strong. You can be very, very this and very, very that. But it only takes one beautiful young woman to end all of that. I'm detached. I have no sex desire. I am not attracted to women. And I think, that may be true, but there may be one out there that could get you. So it only takes one. I am detached. Yeah, but there are like 4 billion women out there. I'm not attracted to women. You're not attracted to all 4 billion. I bet there's one you're attracted to. And, if you meet that one in an elevator alone, when you're going to going somewhere, yeah, you're going to have trouble. Then you'll realize you're not that detached. And it's another mantra. It only takes one to get you to fall down. And what the one is will be different for all of us. For someone it's a woman, for someone it's a man. For someone it's one something, I don't know, one Harley Davidson. What happened to so-and-so Prabhu? Oh, his brother let him use his Harley Davidson and we don't know where he is. We haven't seen him. He used to come to Mangalartik every day. Haven't seen him in a month. Where is he? 30 days he's on his Harley Davidson. He's, he's driven, around the world 3 times already. It's like everyone has their one, isn't it? That's another mantra. Everyone has their one. If you tell me I said that like a year from now, I'll have no idea what you're talking about. Everyone has their one? What does that mean? Everyone has their one. And you're thinking, I don't have my one. I have like 108 of those. What are you talking? I wish I only had one. I've got 108, and yeah. But everyone at least has one of those. Right? So what's your one? And if you think you don't have one, you do, and you're just not recognizing it. What's your one, or what's your two, or what's your 108? So that's the thing. Yeah, so until you're on a higher stage, yeah, you're surrendered, but still, you could accidentally fall down because of that one. And I've seen this. This is funny, You have the brahmachari, like staunch O. I call him the stauncho brahmachari. Staunch. Stauncho is kind of not really a word. Maybe it is. You put an O at the end of something if you want to emphasize it. So the word staunch, very strong. We say, he's a stauncho. Look at that brahmachari. He's a stauncho. Stauncho das. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. He doesn't even open his eyes. 16 rounds. He doesn't open his eyes. He never falls asleep. He sits like a yogi for breakfast. A little fruit. 2 teaspoons of yogurt. Rah! He is stauncho. He's up every morning before Mangalarti learning shlokas. He knows so many shlokas. He's like Mr. Shloka. Shaves his head like 3 times a day. Dyes his dhoti every day. He's like the man. He's like your ideal brahmachari. Like if you needed a picture of a brahmachari, he's the one. Effulgence, coconut oil on his head is just shining, bright eyes, red cheeks, full of shakti, celibate, right? Have you ever seen those brahmacharis? Kind of smile that, just like, wow, look at this devotee. He's like amazing. And then one fine day, not actually a fine day, one bad day, Bhaktin, well, I don't even know what are common names these days. All the people I know have devotee names. I don't want to give you common names from when I was young because you'll be like, nobody has that name. Give me a name. Someone give me a name of a Bhaktin. Well, she's Indian. Okay, I can give you Indian. So one fine day, Bhaktin Priyanka comes to the temple. And Bhaktin Priyanka looks like she just stepped out of a fashion magazine. The cover. She is gorgeous, beautiful. And as the joke goes, even if her body is made of mucus, bile, and stool, she's got all the mucus, bile, and stool in all the right places. And there she is. And our stauncho brahmachari, he starts melting like butter on a hot pan. Bhakti Priyanka has the heat turned up. And she's not even trying to do anything. She's just a sincere soul wanting to learn about Krishna. And our stauncho brahmachari is turning into ghee. He's a mess, right? Have you seen that? Raise your hand if you've seen that before. Yes, and everyone's raising their hand. Yeah, we've seen it, right? So that is called reality TV. That's called reality ISKCON television. That happens. It happens. Does it happen a lot? Yeah, it happens a lot. Why? Because we are who we are. So it happens. So that's the Anartha-nivritti Bhajana Kriya stage, That's what we're dealing with. Hare Krishna. I had a song about that. It is such a funny song. I don't know if I should sing it because you might die of laughing if I sing it. And I'll be responsible for the death of, we have 58 people here. And then tomorrow there'll be nobody at my class. I made this song up spontaneously. And I have it written down. Should I sing it? I don't even know where I could find it. Okay, hold on. I think it's time for this song. First I'll read the words and then we'll decide if I should sing it. But first let's see if I can find it because it is really, it's a really an interesting song. If we've saved it. I don't even know if I could even find it. Okay, maybe it's under ideas. No. I don't want to take all your time looking for the song. I could sing a few lines of the song. Maybe Krishna just told me to throw the song away. It's a funny song. It goes like this. I'm a brahmachari. I'm a brahmachari. I chant the name of Hari. I wear my copings tight. I don't eat late at night. I'm a brahmachari. I chant the name of Hari. I go out day and night on books. To ladies I give no looks. I'm a brahmachari. So it goes on like that. And then one line of the song, and then in came. Then one day in to the temple came Bhakti Su. No, her name had to be something that rhymes with white. And then one day in the temple came. We need a name that rhymes with white. Bhaktin. Okay, we'll call her Blight. Is that a name? Blight? White? Might? Right? Quite? We'll call her Blight. And then one day, in came Bhaktin Blight. Then my dhoti turned white. Now I'm Dasa Adhikari. No time to chant Sri Hari, because I'm working because I'm working like an ass, just to get some grass. Dasa Adhikari. I made that song up spontaneously. We were all, I don't know what we were doing one night. There was a group of us. I guess we had eaten too much prasadam, too much sugar, and we were a little like, we were talking about, brahmachari grihastha life. So, as I said, laugh your way back to Godhead. We have to laugh at these things, otherwise we're going to cry. If you don't laugh, you're going to cry. So we've seen this, right? It's reality. So can a devotee, even who's surrendered, commit an abominable action? Yeah, it happens all the time. But he regrets it. That's Krishna's point. He regrets it, he's remorseful, and he stands up and he fights again. Now fight in the Grihastha ashram. There's that brahmachari, and then you come back to the temple the next day and he's wearing white, and you're thinking, what happened? He was like the brahmachari, he was like the poster child for brahmacharis. Everybody thought he had been a brahmachari for 100 lives. He was, if there was ever a brahmachari, he was it. What happened? Life happens. And other stuff happens. This is just normal life. So yeah. So the point for us is, when it happens, what are you going to do? It's kind of not like if it happens. It's just, something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. Or that'd be another title for this class. Something's going to happen. What do you mean, Prabhu? Something's going to happen. You'll see. Something's going to happen. What's going to happen? I can't tell for you, but something. One day, something's going to happen, and your mind is going to be disturbed by something. And you're going to be running after this mirage in the desert, something. And you're going to realize later on it was nothing. But, so that's reality. So that's my answer to your question. I'm sure you didn't expect that answer, but we have to take things in different directions to explore. Okay, we have a question. How to deal with the situation when we see our guru not behaving in perfect way and is making mistakes that should not make. I'm not talking about fall down, but I mean making mistakes or behavior. Talking about, not fall down, I mean making mistakes of behavior in the way that a senior devotee should not behave. Witnessing such things may undermine our faith in our guru. So how to deal with it? Ask him. Maharaj, when I see you doing this, what am I supposed to think? Because I question, I'm not used to a guru doing this. What am I supposed to think? And let him explain it. And then he might say something like, well, guru is a position, but guru is a person, and every guru has a personality, and every guru is different. And this is just how I am, and I don't want to be artificial. But my instructions are always parampara, and this is just my nature. Or you have a discussion amongst the disciples and say, this is what I'm seeing. Am I envious? Am I wrong? Is there something wrong with me that I see this way? Or do you see it also? And disciples may say, you are nuts. You are crazy. What are you talking about? Or the other disciples may say, yeah, I also thought like that. I don't know. Let's discuss it. And maybe you all realize you're crazy, or maybe you all realize, no, actually, maybe we need to tell him that we know you're pure, but if you act this way, it puts doubt in other people's minds, or something like that. And then, of course, Krishna Karshani is going to say, but what if you can't tell him? Then find someone who can. Then what if there's no one who can? Then just try to adjust it in your mind by seeing, who he is at the core of this totally surrendered servant of Prabhupada. And how he's making so many people devotees, and that's how you see Krishna consciousness. I'm just sitting here. We just had our lawn mowed yesterday. I'm sitting here looking at my desk. It's full of dust that came in through the window when he was mowing the lawn. Lesson learned: when the lawn is being mowed, close your windows. In case you didn't know that, I learned a hard lesson today. I cleaned my office yesterday, and now there's dust everywhere. Just see. Material world is a difficult place. This question is sensitive, and I think I won't say any more. We've discussed it before. I would say it's a personal issue between the devotee and Krishna. George Harrison didn't follow all the principles, but he certainly had high realizations and did lots of service and made it back home. Any thoughts? It's true. What you say, Bhaktivinoda, is true up to a point, because once you take initiation, then you've made a promise. So that promise has to include what you said. It's between you and Krishna, but it has to include the promises you've made. So if you haven't taken initiation, you're not living in a temple, then it's like, okay, Krishna, you know my sincerity, I'm trying. And sometimes I'm not so perfect, but I'm trying to be sincere. And, okay. But when you commit to certain things, then it requires that you commit, and you can't rationalize away those commitments. That's why taking initiation can't be taken lightly, because you can't you don't have, if you haven't taken initiation, in a sense you don't have to rationalize it. You can just say, well, I'm not ready yet, and I'm working on becoming ready. But once you take initiation, you can't really say, I'm working on becoming ready. That you're not supposed to take initiation till you're ready. So then that becomes a rationalization. Whereas before it just becomes, okay, Krishna, you know that I'm sincere, you know my anarthas, you know that I'm not perfect and I'm weak and so forth, and I'm trying to be sincere, and that I'm really trying to cultivate sincerity, and I'm trying to improve and be better. Okay, so that's fine. But when you take certain initiation vows, it has to be incorporated into that equation, and then you can't compromise or rationalize those. That's the point. I am going to Google, I'm going to type in something just to see if the song comes up, because there's a few more lyrics. I'm a brahmachari. Dun-da-da. Didn't come up. I might have to rewrite the song. It's a good song. You like it? Should I write funny songs about all these strange things that happen in ISKCON to all the sincere devotees who are struggling with Maya? Rachel says, sorry to tell, but last Holy Name retreat at Govardhan, Burijan Prabhu told that one devotee asked Prabhupada once about chanting japa with Prabhupada chanting recordings in the background, and he said, you should chant and hear yourself, not with the recordings in the background. Okay, there it is. We've all heard it. Yeah. I personally like to hear Prabhupada chanting when I'm not chanting. But when I'm chanting, yeah, I get distracted when I hear other people chant. So thank you for that. And some of you will say, yeah, but senior devotees do it. And yeah. Anyway, do what helps you. Marco says, we have a tendency to criticize others based on the lenses we wear. Yes, the conditioning we see in others are actually in ourselves. Yes, the fall is always related to the ignorance of our constitutional position. Who is Uttama? Ut, without Tama, ignorance, cannot fall. Is this so? Yeah, Uttama is not going to fall. You know, this word fall, in a sense, we're always falling. We're always going to falling, getting up, falling, because that's the state of the condition. So yeah, Uttama he's not going to fall. Philosophically, you could say he can fall because anyone can fall. But when you have prema, philosophically speaking, you can't fall. So it's a transcendental philosophical paradox. Does this type have a right to expect the guru to be perfect? Well, what I would say is, before you decide to take a guru, you should understand what to expect and what not to expect. And if you expect perfection, you are going to be sorely disappointed. The perfection is that he's preaching everywhere. And so this is important. Know what to expect from a guru, because if you expect more than he is or more than he can give, you'll be disappointed and you don't want to offend the guru. And maybe when you accepted your guru, you had expectations that were unrealistic, and you have to reevaluate those expectations and what word am I looking for? Redesign? Rethink those expectations to something which they should have been previously, which are more realistic. Yes, that's the short answer, but I think a longer answer wouldn't say any more than the short one. Often new devotees expect from old devotees. Good example and things, devotees must be perfect, but when some old devotee makes mistake and immediately starts to criticize them, what is good? They want a good example and think that devotees must be perfect. Okay. But when some old devotee makes a mistake and then immediately start to criticize them, who is criticizing who? I don't understand. What is a good way preaching for new people and young devotee in this situation? Don't expect everyone's going to be perfect, and try to understand what means to be Krishna conscious. And I think the same point, see their sincerity, see that they've devoted their life to Krishna. Everyone's in the process. No, we're not perfect yet. We're in the process, and we're working on becoming perfect. That's the idea. Yes? And everything I said in today's class actually answers this question. If you focus on the fault, it's going to have a really bad effect on you. Welcome back, Rima. Every morning, 8 o'clock. So Kamini says, Raquel, I am curious what Bhurijan Prabhu would say about chanting together with other devotees in the temple. I don't chant or listen specifically to Prabhupada devotees, but it does to help me focus my attention. I'm chanting when the mind inevitably becomes distracted, because I always have a long way from chanting purely. You want me to ask him? Should I ask Bhurijan Prabhu about this and then report back to you? So Vrindavan Leela says, what about a devotee who is a liar? Should you warn the other devotees about the liar? For example, a devotee who claims to be a medical professional but is not. That medical professional can give bad medical advice. Yeah, definitely. But you can do it without being offensive. You know, the thing is, you have this situation, we'll use this as an example. Let's say a devotee's lying and some people are being cheated. Some devotees do that with money. They say, I'll pay you back. They borrow money. There's no intention to pay you back. And maybe this devotee, he wants to help people. And he's just misleading them. So for you, you may want to inform the devotees. I just want to let you know, he may say he's a medical doctor. He doesn't actually have a degree, but he studied this and that on his own or whatever. Or he studied in this school, but it's not considered a medical degree. I just wanted to let you know. So that's fine. You want to protect the devotees, you want them to be aware, and you're not offending the devotee. So that's the idea. The whole key is, how do you get through material world, material life, and practice your Krishna consciousness, and on the way, don't offend anybody. That's the real key. How are we going to do this without offending any devotees? Because the carrot is always in front of us, because all the devotees have faults. So how am I going to get through this maze out of the material world without committing offenses to devotees? That's the big question we have to ask ourselves. And so that's the question we ask ourselves. So that in any situation, when situations like this come up, Vrindavan Leela, then you say, okay, here's the situation, we have to resolve it. How am I going to do this without offending anybody? That's always should be the question. How are we going to resolve this problem without offending devotees? So Rima says, this message is really for me. I'm actually going through this situation right now, and I'm so blessed to hear your message. Okay, that's the answer. How can I go through this without offending anyone? Borijan Prabhu said the recordings are from a wedding, not Srila Prabhupada's usually chanting japa. Ha ha. Wow. Interesting. Anyway, I'm going to write him. Let me make a note to write him. I'll ask him. To explain, and then I'll let you know. So, yeah. Yeah, so that will solve this problem, and we'll get back to that. Krishna Karni says, I understand the point that criticizing devotees is detrimental for our bhakti, but, that was a loud but still we have to keep our purity, I guess you mean, and cannot pretend that we don't see that a devotee is doing something wrong. Doing something wrong which is not aligned with Krishna consciousness. Prabhu, I don't criticize anyone, but I'm not going to pretend that I don't see that you're a number one rascal. I just want you to know that, okay? I see it, and I'm not going to say anything about it. Okay? You got it? Something like that, Krishna Karshani. It's something like that. Like, obviously you're going to see it, but the more you progress in devotional service, I think the less you're inclined to see it, and you only see it if you have to, because it really has to be addressed because there's a problem. But normally you're not interested in seeing it. Prabhu, although you are so bad and horrible, and I see it clearly, I'm not going to say anything. Well, you just said it. Oh, I did, didn't I? I meant I'm not going to tell anybody else that I see how bad and horrible you are. That's what I meant. Yeah. That's a Bhakta Burfi moment. Okay. I believe that sometimes devotees feel awkward in ISKCON, seeing that senior or not only senior devotees are doing something obviously wrong, but no one else is reacting because everyone is afraid to do anything, scared of making offenses. Yeah, you don't have to be a Bhakta Burfi. If you're a Bhakta Burfi, you're going to definitely make offense. But to see it, if it actually is wrong and needs to be corrected and it is harming devotees, in itself is not an offense. It's just like you say, you're seeing it. And so the reaction should be, okay, we're seeing it, let's do something about it. I as you know, many of you know, I'm on this group called Sabha. So if you're a leader, whether it's Sabha or GBC or temple president, there are situations like that where it's reported to you that someone is not acting properly. And there's so many ways you could respond to it, but the right way is not to condemn the person, but to deal with the situation and see how it can be rectified and not become offensive. So if that's the case, you're good. Everything's good. We have to deal with this out of a desire to help the movement, help devotees, help that devotee himself. Then yes, it's fine. So the real question is, what do you do when you see the fault? Because what do you do when you see the fault? Because the fault is there and you will see it. So that's the question. And the question is, deal with it in a Krishna conscious way, deal with it from sattva gun, deal with it according to the principles of Vaishnava etiquette, deal with it in an understanding, sympathetic way, compassionate, kind way, and then we'll be fine. The problem is when we descend into passion and ignorance, then all havoc is let loose. You know, we create problems. It's like if I'm a problem and then you become so disturbed that you go around telling everybody what a problem I am, then you're creating a problem. So now we have two problems instead of one problem. Now more people are disturbed. I did something wrong, they were disturbed. Now you're telling everybody how bad it is, and now you're getting everyone else disturbed. So we don't want to do that. We want to minimize that. We want to rectify it so that I correct myself and nobody gets disturbed in the process of me correcting myself. And that's why when a devotee had, of course, we know I never do anything wrong. You know that, right? I'm Mahatma Das. Never has ever done anything wrong, just so you know that. I was just an example. I was just using that as an analogy. No, even, okay, seriously, we're not perfect, and very, very advanced devotees sometimes may make mistakes. We're human. We may misunderstand something, or we said something and later we think, I shouldn't have said that. If I think about it now, I think that was the wrong thing. Yeah, that's human. That happens. We will all admit that. But the point is, when we react to something which is wrong in the wrong way, then it becomes doubly wrong. Two wrongs don't make a right. And so that's my point. Not that you're not going to see it, not we're going to go around, I don't see it, Prabhu. Prabhu, you made a big mistake, but I just want to let you know, I don't see it. God, if we just go through these videos, we'd have a whole movie, Bhakta Burfi movie. Prabhu, I see all the mistakes you made, but my temple president said, we're not supposed to see the mistakes. So I just want to let you know, I don't see any of them. You know, Bhakta Burfi, wow, what a great movie. So that's the point. We don't bring it into the mode of passion and ignorance and then create all these problems. So yeah, you're going to see it. It's there. But you're going to be less disturbed by it the more Krishna conscious you are. You're going to be less concerned personally. Oh, I hate this person. I hate it when devotees do that. How can we, all riled up, ready to, tear the universe down. Then it's going to be different, okay? Bhakta Burfi, oh my God. Do we have any actors out there, actresses who want to do Bhakta Burfi? Because I think ISKCON needs the Bhakta Burfi movie. I think it'll go viral, and everyone says, did you see Bhakta Burfi? You have to see this. It's like, it's like every problem in ISKCON, Bhakta Burfi will do it. He'll personify everything wrong that we've ever seen, everything wrong that we're ever going to see, and he'll do it, and we'll just sit there and go, Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. And we can deal with all kinds of philosophical issues with Bhakta Burfi. Bhakta Burfi's going to get a coin. It's another scene from Bhakta Burfi. Some of you don't know, but there's a controversy. Did we fall from the spiritual world, Vaikuntha, or did we fall from Brahman or some other place? And so outside of ISKCON Gaudiya Math, they say, no, we fell from Brahman. We never fell from Vaikuntha. You can't fall from Vaikuntha. And then in ISKCON we say, no, but Prabhupada said it. Or in ISKCON we say both. No, Prabhupada said it. So Bhakta Burfi's sitting there with the coin. Did they fall from Vaikuntha or did they fall from Brahman? Did they fall from Vaikuntha? He's just flipping the coin because we like, in ISKCON we're like, yeah, maybe, Prabhupada said both, or, where do we really come? Flipping the coin. Did we fall from Vaikuntha? So we could do so many things, even philosophical things. Oh, you found the letter. Okay. I'm not going to read the letter, but I think Vijay Lakshmi, you should read this letter. Thank you, Tanya. We don't have time to read it. We could read it tomorrow. Tanya, can you send that to me to my email address? M-A-H-A-T, Mahat. M-A-H-A-T at AOL. Mahat at AOL.com. If you can send that to me, then we can read it tomorrow. I attended a seminar this is Gomati, Mayapur. We were told to hear our own chanting and discourage from having a Prabhupada chanting in the background during japa. Love to hear, we're going to hear from Burijan Prabhu. My philosophy is do what helps your japa, whatever inspires your japa. One thing may inspire one person and not another. But we'll see. Okay. Regarding respecting devotees from the distance, we may keep distance, but if we don't like a devotee, we may tend to think about this devotee in nasty ways. Yeah, but that's our fault. So it seems that still it's not resolving the problem. Well, you're not committing offenses personally, just in your mind. How really to love those we hate? I have sometimes problem with that. Okay, Krishna Karshani, what I want you to do today is write on a piece of paper how to love the devotees I hate, and come up with 20 ways you can do it. And tomorrow report the top 3 that you found that work best for you. I think you're going to come up with some great answers. And I think it's actually better than me answering you as you come up with yourself. So Kamaniya says, I recommend the Kartamrita phone app put out by the Russian devotees. Both recordings are on it as well as other channels like Prabhupada's classes. Oh, nice. I didn't know that. Kartamrita. The way he says Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram. Hare Ram. Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna. It's not Krishna, it's Krishna. It's not Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Krishna, Hare Krishna Prabhu. It's Krishna. But if you can't say it perfectly, you can still go back to Godhead. They'll correct you when you get back there. Before you go in, before you go in the security gate to Broads, they're going to say, "What's the password?" And you're going to say, "Hare Krishna." And they're going to say, "Out of here." They go, "Wait a minute. I thought the password was Hare Krishna." Yeah, but you didn't say Hare Krishna. You said Hare Krishna. Oh, okay. Well, how do you say it? Krishna. And you go, Krishna. Yeah, and then they'll teach you how to do it, and then when you say it, you'll get through the gate. So don't worry if you don't say it perfectly here. At the Japa retreat in Poland last November, we were chanting 5 minutes with Prabhupada together, and for all of us, it was amazing. Yeah, that's true. It was special. Comment about the only way to do something is to do it. I was confusing confessing fighting in my Guru Maharaj about a struggle I was having committing to something. And this was the second part of his reply. Oh, that's what he said. The only way to do something is to do it. Satyarupa. What if we pray to Krishna to not let us fall down? Can that protect us? Yeah, Prabhupada prayed that way, so we can pray that way. And Alachua has some wise words for all of us, which are very esoteric and profound and deep. So deep, I don't understand them. Maybe someone can explain it. And the message is, Lucy. Can someone explain Lucy? I forget what we were talking about. No, Alachua is coming back to explain it. Was it Lucy or yes? Or Bhaktin Carrot? You were singing this brahmachari song in Poland. We were crying out loud, yeah. Was I playing it on the guitar? Yeah, this is really crazy. I'm a brahmachari. I'm a brahmachari. I chant the name of Hari. I wear my copings tight. I don't eat late at night. I'm a brahmachari. Yeah, I must have sang it there. That's how it goes. So the question is, can a bona fide guru sing this song? That is an important question we have to meditate on. We should Krishnaize the song, Don't Stand So Close to Me, for Stancho Das, before he falls for Bhakti Priyanka. Yeah. Okay. Then we have to teach all the brahmacharis that song. Should we play the song right now for all the brahmacharis? So, Vijay Lakshmi, by your mercy, we're having all this wonderful discussion. There is a certain phase in the process of leaving a bad behavior behind, where we go from understanding what we're doing wrong and go to the point to make the change happen. Then, in the way to make the change happen, and then the way to perfect or make it good, there are sometimes many fall downs, yes. Is it normal? Yes. And it will depend on the individual. How bad the problem is, how determined the individual is, and the strength of the individual, how good their sadhana is, how much faith they have, it'll all affect it. Sometimes I feel that maybe I wasn't born to be Krishna conscious because my process has been so slow. And I go from super enthusiastic to completely back to Maya. That, Andrea, I would say to examine that we're all born to be Krishna conscious because that's our nature. We are. No, you're not born to be Krishna conscious. You are. You can't be born. You were born with it. But this nature of going from super enthusiastic back to Maya, I would suggest examining whether that has anything to do with Krishna consciousness or that's just your nature in general, that you oscillate back and forth. Because it sounds like it could be just your nature, and then you have to work on that. Wow, this class is going really long. If we truly perceive the presence of Krishna in the hearts of devotees and people in general, we would not offend anyone. Yeah, that's true. We would respect everyone. But we may still see their faults, but still we respect them. I'm waiting for a movie about crazy adventures of Bhakti Burfi. Who's going to make the movie? You just have to go through these classes, and we have every scene in the movie. Oh, Tanya's going to make the movie. Okay. All right, Tanya, write me. Now you're going to have to go. You're going to have to go through all the classes again and get out all the Bhakti Burfi moments. Or everybody send the Bhakti Burfi moments to what you remember to Tanya. Andrea says, I have a lot of trouble concentrating and chanting. I use the audio of Prabhupada chanting and focus on his voice. But ultimately, you're going to focus on your voice. That's the point. Alachua was tagging someone called Lucy in his comment. Oh, so it wasn't so deep and esoteric as I thought. I was expecting some deep meaning out of Lucy, like it was the initials for some esoteric mantra or something. But there's always tomorrow. The brahmachari song seems to be not relevant that much to those days. Not many brahmacharis left. I'm a grahastachari. In some parts of the world, there's brahmacharis and other parts. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to go. But just remember, if you're a brahmachari, I wear my copings tight, I don't eat late at night, I'm a brahmachari, chant the name of Hari. Go out on books all day and night, never eat late at night, I'm a brahmachari. Okay. Adhokshaja. Adhokshaja is funny and he's a good actor. Maybe Adhokshaja will star in the movie. And he can be Bhakta Burfi. Adhokshaja. You want to be Bhakta Burfi, Adhokshaja? You'd be a good one. Oh, sending the Srila Prabhupada letters. Oh, okay. Well, now we still need someone. Well, if we have Adhokshaja to be Bhakta Burfi, then all he has to do is get one other devotee to play with him and get someone to video him. And before you know it, we're going to have the adventures of Bhakta Burfi. I have some other ones I haven't mentioned. Yeah, we need... Okay, so we're going to go. Thank you very much. At 12 o'clock, if you want, then you can attend the class there. And we'll try to get that out on Facebook ASAP. I will post the Zoom connection, and then also it's going to be on Facebook. Anyway, hopefully, if we do everything right. We need a director for Bhakta Burfi. Yeah, we need a producer, director, script writer, good actors, actresses, whatever. Or Bhaktin Burfi. Or we could do both. The Adventures of Bhakta and Bhaktin Burfi. Yeah. Okay. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.